Yep. Good evening, everyone. So, last session we got disconnected at this topic, timer events. At timer events, we got disconnected while working. I will show you the process actually. So, we discussed about two options. One is set timeout and clear timeout. And we have set interval and we have clear interval. What is difference between timeout and interval? Difference between timeout and interval is timeout performs the specified task. After that, it is removed from the memory and it delays the task by specific amount of time by locking it in the memory. We call it as what? Timeout. And what is interval? Interval keep the task in the memory and it will send the task into process. It will repeat that until it is removed from the memory. We call this mechanism as interval. We have timeout and interval, two important concepts. Okay. Now here what happens is usually we designed this one. It is continuing. How to terminate? On stop, it should clear interval. Actually, set timeout we designed. When user clicks the button, it will clear. But here the problem is when you click stop click, what will happen is it will clear interval. After clearing interval, one more work is done. What is done is after clearing interval, this variable is declared again. Because where we are creating that variable, we are creating that variable globally. When you create globally, what will happen? After you click the button, this will allocate memory again. That means after the button click, it is going to allocate the memory again. That means it is going to initialize again. When it is going to initialize again, even you click on stop, it will run again. It will run again. That is the reason here. Suppose I put an alert. Alert is what? Stop clicked. But you can observe when I click on this button, stop clicked will fire up. We will write event function handler. What is it? On stop click, what it is there? Handle stop click. That is the function which is firing up. Right. And you can see here, even I click on that stop click function. Let's reload. I will show you console. In the console, so we need to see here, when I click on that stop click, so you can see stop clicked. Stop clicked, but observe carefully, timer is stopped actually. Timer is stopped because alert is there. But when I click OK, then what happens? Again, timer is initialized. Again, timer is initialized means again timer will start. Timer will start. That is the reason to handle this situation, we have to implement not global variable. Instead of declaring global variable, already I told you, we don't use variables. We discussed in the beginning, data binding, I told you why we don't use variables. Variables are immutable. Am I right? So for this, we have another solution. That solution is we use a hook called use reference. Use reference. Later we will learn about those hooks. Actually, in React, we have to use a hook called use reference. By using that hook, we can store the timer in the memory and we can pause or we can play or we can load anytime we want. But for that, you need to learn about hooks. Without hooks, temporarily you can try like this. What you have to do, just put an alert so that it will show you the timer is stop. Otherwise, what will happen is it will reinitialize again. Then it will continue again, right? So later when you learn about how do we work with the hooks, there you will see the same example. So working with the timer and without any alert, it will pause the time and it will play the time. For that, we can handle by using a hook called use reference. So as of now, this is one example to understand which one. This is the example for set interval and clear interval. Set interval and clear interval. So this comes under which category? This comes under timer events. We call these as timer events. So we discussed so many categories of events. What are those categories? One is mouse events, keyboard events, clipboard events, button events, touch events, and element state events like on, change and all, right? We can. Now with the help of this, you can create different examples. You can try different examples. I told you we will design one EMI calculator like. I will give you a help on that. You have to finish it. Okay. You need to finish that. I will give you a help up to certain point. Then based on that, you need to finish that example. So let's see how events are used in designing some real-time screens, right? So we will try one EMI calculator like. Suppose you see, we have HDFC Bank. In this bank, you can see some EMI calculator, personal loan calculator is there. So here, this is one personal loan calculator. Here user can select amount. Then you can see this amount is reflected here. How much amount user is selecting. And user can select years. User can select interest rate. And when click on calculate, based on that, how much amount they have to pay every month, it will calculate and display. You can see it is displayed like this. 18,000 per month. So this is also designed by web developer only. But it requires a lot of mathematical calculations. It requires a lot of mathematical operations. Actually, events we will create, events we will design, but calculating EMI and all, the business will give you formula. What you have to do, you need to convert that formula into the formula of JavaScript. Because mathematical formulas you cannot directly write in JavaScript. Then how you will implement? That mathematical formula you have to convert into JavaScript formula. For that you need JavaScript operators, you need JavaScript functions. By using them, we have to implement. Actually, what is the formula for EMI? See, EMI formula. This is the EMI formula. This is the EMI formula. Any formula is there here? Yeah. To calculate the monthly EMI, this is actually the formula. Means mathematical formula I will show you. You can see this is the mathematical formula. That is the mathematical formula. Now the question is how you will do this in JavaScript. But you have to implement this. This is your responsibility. HDFC Bank website is designed by Angular or React-like technologies. Then it is React and Angular developers' responsibility to handle this. So you need some mathematical operations to handle events with certain functionalities. Let's see one simple point. Actually, you know what is this power n? How to write power n? How to write power n? You have math.pow. We have math.pow, right? So usually these all are very important. Suppose some formulas have a square root. How to write square root? Math.sqrt. We need to implement these and we need to design. I will show you one simple implementation. Let's first create this interface. Let's create this interface. So I will go here. I will write a new file. Let's go to components and I will add a new folder, EMI calculator, and I will add a new file. So EMI calculator dot component dot js, and we will create here. So export class EMI calculator component. Okay, so not class na, we are using which one? Function. EMI calculator component. Okay. Now it should return some presentation. We will keep this class name as container fluid. And here we will create the design. So we will keep a heading as personal loan EMI calculator. Okay, now here we will create. So class name as row. In this row, we need 3 columns. Div, class as call, another div. So class name as call, 3 equal columns. So class name as call. And here we are defining. So according to this, amount you need. Amount you need. So input type is equal to text. So this is a simple text box we are giving, right? Okay, text. Okay, input type text. Next one, for how many years? So for input type is equal to text and years, for years. Okay. This text size I will give as some 4. Okay. Now for interest rate, years with interest rate. Interest rate. Interest rate input type is equal to text. Size, this is also 4. And here percent. I am defining like this. Okay, interest rate, how much? We are displaying that. Now you can see this is in the startup. I will put that EMI calculator component. That is in the startup, it is like this. Right? Yeah, this is the division we are having. Okay, and here I will keep some row margin top as 4. Down. Okay, fine. For this, I will keep border. So border dark and border 2 and P4, padding 4. Little gap is adjusted, M4, M3, margin. Okay, this is the calculator. Amount you need how much, and for years and interest rate. Okay, below we need to design another row, div. Now in this row, we need to create class row and margin top is 3. In this again, three divisions are there. Class name call, another div. So we have class name call, another div, that's also class name as column. And here we need amount. So that means ampersand hash 8377 semicolon 8377 semicolon. This is starting with some 50,000. And we need input type is range. And in this range, so we given min is equal to 50,000, max is equal to some 10 lakhs. Okay, right. And value is equal to 50,000. Like this we define. And this is 10 lakhs. Ampersand hash, what is it? Ampersand hash 8377. Okay. And this is 10 lakhs. Okay, we have, this is the amount to pay. Fine. Now this is one. Next one, here starting with the 1 and input type is equal to, this is also range, and we have min is equal to 1, max is equal to 5, and value is equal to 5. This is 1 to 5. We have another 10.32 or 25, and the input type is equal to range. So min is equal to 10.25. Max is equal to some 18.25. And value is equal to 0.5, 0.1. Not value, this is actually step. Okay. You know, numbers have a step value. Na? Step is nothing but how much range it should be. And value we will give as 10.25. That is the interest range. We are defining that range. Okay, fine. This is 10.25 and 18.25%. Here also we will give the percent. Now this is the design we have. Right here also the same. The row we are adding. Actually better to give complete in one itself. That is fine. Okay. Now what we will do here, so we will create calculate button. So I'm adding another div, class name as margin top 3, and div as class name as row, and div we have class name as call, and we have a button calculate, class BTN primary. This is the design we are having. And text center I am just giving. And this is the design. Now what should happen is here important, another is here value is 1. Okay, then slider will be here. First thing what you have to achieve is, while sliding, this number should display in the text box. Tell me. It must be displayed in the text box. The value of slider must be displayed inside the text box. Right? That is the first thing we want. right? Let's see how to handle that. So we will import. So we will import use state from React. Okay. Tell me what to do here. First thing, we need to write on this range. First we will declare. So constant. We have one is amount. Set amount. So use state. Use state I will give 0. That is initially set to 0. So another one is constant. Another is year. Set years. Years. Okay. Set years. Set years. Use state. Use state is 0. What else? Another constant. We need rate. Rate is set rate. Interest rate. Interest rate. Use state. That is also 0. Now, what should happen is when user is moving, we need to get that value. That means here we need to write logic when user is moving this range. Then we have to use what? On change. So this is amount change. Amount change is the function. We will write a function here. Function amount change. We need to access what they entered. And we need to set the amount. E dot target dot value. We need to get the value. And actually, suppose here I am keeping this text box. Text box is displayed with a value. Value is coming from where? Amount. Understood? Value is coming from amount. That is what you define here. Ampersand hash 837. Okay. Now this is actually 0. When I'm moving this slider, it is changing, but the slider is not changing. You see, the slider value is not changing. What is the problem in that? Because we changed on change only. On change is amount is changed. Actually, here value is how much? 50,000. It is fixed. Even you are moving the slider, it is not changing because it is fixed. Now, suppose I remove this value. I remove that value. Then you can see when I move this, then it is applied. Right? Because we given some standard values, then it will display that. We need to apply this by using. So no need of any standard value because it will fix to that value every time. So here we need to just keep it and we can change. We can apply. Now same thing we have to do for this also. Right? That means now what we need to do? We need to configure on change. On change is what? Year change. Am I right? Year change. Okay, here on change. On change is equal to rate change. Okay, let's write those functions. Same. So function is year change. So set years. E dot target dot value. And function is rate change. So set rate. E dot target dot value. Okay. Now you can see this functionality when I am moving this here, right? Refresh this. I am moving this, that is the rate, and this is the periods. and we are not applying them. We will apply them in these text boxes. Second text box, its value should be what? Years. Here the value should be so rate. We need to apply those values there. Now I am changing the amount and I am changing the years. It will display. I am changing the interest rate. It will get and show. We can define that. This is basically how we manage. Now the values are present in amount and years and rate. When user clicks calculate, I need to implement these values in that formula. When you click on calculate, we need to implement on that formula. This is little complicated because that depends on what is that business formula. See, React developer need not to be good in mathematics. But if you don't know any mathematics, how you will design like this? Right? That means at least you should have a knowledge of from where to collect value and where to put that. How to convert a mathematical formula into JavaScript formula. At least this knowledge you should have. Because these days in every business website, these type of calculations are very common. Right? Shopping carts and all simple. Add quantity into price, total, subtraction, multiplication. But stock market, health websites, even health websites, you have BMI calculator, body mass calculator, calories, weight. For that, they give formulas. In those formulas, we need to implement, right? Now on calculate click, we need to calculate the amount to be paid and display. For that, actually, the original EMI formula is this one. So for this, we need to know the formula, right? Already we searched for formula, na? Right? What is that? EMI formula. This is the EMI formula. But we need to convert this EMI formulas into JavaScript formulas. JavaScript formula. That means whatever the EMI formula is this is the EMI formula. This we need to convert into JavaScript functions. That is where you need good knowledge of JavaScript. But so you know P is interest rate, P is amount, R is interest rate, N is number of periods. So here 1 plus rate to the power of N. That is how we have to write math.pow, pow of N. That means this is actually written like this. Math, what is it? Math.pow. Pow is what? So 1 plus R. Am I right? So raise it to the power of how much? N. Like this we need to define. That's how we need to implement this in JavaScript. So that is what we need to calculate actually. Yeah? So we will do one thing here. Let's open a formula which is already there. I will open a formula which is already there. It is Amazon. Yeah, so this is the formula. I will just open it with the notepad here. This is the code. Actually, this is already implemented. I have. This is the formula. This is the implemented formula. This is the formula for EMI. Understood? That means principal and interest. This I will give you. In this code, I will give you. Means this is actually general logic. Example is EMI calculator. And with the EMI formula, actually the formula is this: principal is amount, this we will give. Actually rate, what it is, principal is amount. Okay na? According to our example, rate is how much? R is what? Rate. That means we have to get rate divided by rate na, right? So here we have to say rate divided by how much? Rate divided by 12 into 100, because interest rate is every month. We have to calculate in percentage. That is interest rate. Number of periods, how many? Into 12. That means how many years? Years into 12. If it is 4 years, monthly EMI means how much? 1 year means monthly EMI we have to calculate for 12 months. That means into 12. EMI should be 12. Now we need to implement that in this formula. EMI is equal to principal into R into math.pow 1 plus R N. Just now you saw that. Right? Another by divided by math.power 1 plus R, this one. Actually, let me open up that formula also so that you have little clarity. EMI formula is this one actually. Am I right? This is just the EMI formula. Right? And this formula we are keeping here. Right? I'm just showing you. Beside this, I will put that formula for you so that you can understand. And this is the formula we are having. Let me keep it here. So this is nothing but 1 plus R to the power of N. So what you have to do, math 1 plus R to the power of N divided by, you have by na, right? Divided by how much? Math power 1 plus R by 1 minus 1, right? That is actually minus 1. Understood? That is how we need to implement the formula. So principal into rate into math.pow 1 plus R comma N, interest rate, divided by slash. That means let me copy this so that I can give you a clear view for this. I will open that website. Means just I am saving that image for your visual sake. Okay, let me open this in a separate screen. Yeah, this is the formula. Now, how do we implement this in our general JavaScript? We have to use EMI. Yeah? EMI is equal to what? P into means asterisk. R into we have to use, what is it? Math.pow. Math.pow 1 plus R comma N, right? And divided by slash, divided by again math.pow. So here 1 plus R comma N minus 1. That's how we need to implement. Every mathematical formula you need to translate into JavaScript. Otherwise, it will give wrong. Right? This we need to implement. We need to define like this. So this mathematical formula is configured in this way. Right? So that is generally how we need to specify. Right? Now we will implement in example here. Right? Let's write this formula. First, we have to calculate separate options. Na? When calculate button click. So here I will create another div. And here I will put a heading. Here I will put the amount to display. That means how much they need to pay. Temporarily I am giving your monthly installment. Installment. Monthly installment is how much? Just we will put some number there. Okay. Class text center. Okay. And here we will put class margin top 2, 3. So your monthly installment, how much? Later you can show and hide. Right, we learned already styles now. When user clicks calculate, then we can display your wish, show and hide and all. So now this formula we need to implement on calculate click. So on click, okay, on click. What is it? Calculate click. So on calculate click, we need to define here. So function, what is it? Calculate click. Now we need to call all the details. First, we will declare var variable. So what is the first one is principal. So that means we will call that principal. Principal is how much? Principal, right? Yeah, principal is how much? We have amount, na? Amount is there, right? This is amount, right? From state. Principal is nothing but amount. What is the amount? Okay. What next? Next one we have to get what? Rate, interest rate, R. R is equal to how much? R is how much? Rate by 12 into 100. That means what is that rate? Rate is there divided by 12. 12 into how much? 100. This is the interest rate we have to calculate. Understood? That is the interest rate we have to calculate. What about years? Years, na N. Where is what? N. N is how much? N is years. We have years, na? Years into how much? 12. That is what we need to calculate. Now, what is the formula? EMI is equal to, what is it? Principal into R into what? Math dot pow. What is it? R plus 1. What is it? N. R plus R N. Am I right? We need to configure this. First, we need to calculate this one. Okay, divided by, am I right? Divided by, and what is it? Math dot pow. What is the formula? 1 plus R N. N minus 1. This is what we need to implement. That is the EMI formula. This EMI, whatever comes, we need to print. Like what we will do is we will create another constant. Constant is what? EMI. Set EMI is equal to use state 0. EMI. Okay. And here we will put set EMI is equal to what? EMI. This is local EMI we applied. And this EMI we will display here. Installment is ampersand hash 8377 semicolon and what? EMI. Monthly installment is this much. For amount. For amount is coming from where? It is coming from amount. With rate. Am I right? With rate is coming from where? It is coming from rate. Right? So this your wish. Displaying is your wish. You can put anything. So I will just keep a heading 3 style. These are all details we are accessing. 0, 0, 0. Now what we need to do? We need to collect here. Interest rate is, amount is how much it is showing there. And years, how much it is displaying, and interest rate is how much it is showing. Right? That means if I can define this in percentage. Amount is ampersand hash 8377 and what? This is percent. Okay. This will be fine. Okay. Now this is the amount years. This is the interest rate we are displaying. And this is the amount we are displaying. And click on calculate. It should display that amount 16,000. We need to round that number. A lengthy number is coming now. So what we will do? Here we will put math dot what? Round that number. That is number we are defining. Okay. Now round is nothing but the nearest value you are specifying. So this is the amount. So refresh. Yeah. This is the amount and this is the years and interest rate is this much. And I click on calculate. It should get that and display. Oh, what it is? Math dot round. EMI, not amount. We have to round EMI, not amount. This amount is okay. Round this one. Math dot round. Which one? EMI. That is what we need to do. Okay. Now you can see the number it is displaying. If I am increasing the number of periods, then automatically what happens? Amount will decrease. If I am decreasing the number of periods, amount will increase. If I am decreasing the interest rate, then automatically amount will decrease. Increasing the interest rate, so then amount will increase. Amount is decreasing, then total installments will be decreased. This is a simple EMI calculator that we design. With all the event binding techniques we have learned. Right, this kind of tools and utilities are very common in websites. And your responsibility is to design such components. Now this is a component, EMI calculator component. Now in a bank application, wherever they need, they will just put this there. Right, so already we saw. So for example, so this is component they design. Suppose we are starting with which page? Suppose some other page. There is a option called data binding component. This is some other component we are having. Here I want a EMI calculator. Here I want a EMI calculator. It is which component? Data binding component. What we do? Simply. So we will go there to data binding component. Data binding component. And here at the bottom somewhere, we will keep a container. In this, we have to import first. We have to import now. Which one we have to put here? EMI component. This we need to import there. We have to import EMI calculator and put here. Now EMI calculator is present here. That EMI calculator is present here. And it is doing the functionality, whatever functionality you are giving, it is defining it and calculate, it will display. This is working in another location. Wherever you need, just import that component and use it. This is reusable components. And here, one of the main challenging is, so how you handle different events, how to convert the formulas into our JavaScript. This is where people face issues. Because remember, in real-time project, everywhere you will be working with a lot of business applications. All are business only. You are developing app, web application means you are designing for a business. And those business will have a lot of complex designs. And one of the popular, I will show you later after learning some hooks and other things. We will learn material UI. I will tell you another popular one, dashboard, which is very popularly asked. Every person says that when I log in, I have to land on a dashboard. In the dashboard, my activities summary should display. That means, dashboard activity summaries will be there. That means these you used recently, these are the options. When you log in a shopping site, they will put a dashboard there. You recently viewed this. You recently ordered this. That is your dashboard, summarize, which is very popularly asked. We will see such things. So, but all those are under the category of what? Components. Right? We are designing components. But many times, the components need to be designed in such a way that these components are actually accepting data from another component. This is the biggest challenge. That means now what happens is you designed EMI calculator, it has same functionality. It's okay. Suppose they will ask you to design a grid. They will ask you to design a grid. Grid means table. The table contains data. In the data, there will be options like filtering, sorting, searching. Now what happens? You will design a grid, but you are not sure what data will come. Understood? You designed a grid, but you are not sure what data will come. You have to design a grid in such a way that it should work for every data. If I send employee data, it should show employees data, and it should work for employee sorting, employee filtering. Same grid, when products data is sent, it should work for products sorting, products filtering. This is done by using a concept called properties, which we are going to see now, right? Component properties. This is one example. I will copy this example. I will give you this example code. Already formula is there. This is the example. This is the example for designing a simple EMI calculator, how to create. You try in your JavaScript also, you might have tried. You try a task, BMI calculator. You create a BMI calculator in React. So BMI calculator means you can see actually BMI calculator. It looks like this. This is BMI calculator. In BMI calculator, user can select male or female. User will select male or female, and he will enter years. Years how many? Some 24. How much height? Some 170 height. How much weight? Ideal weight will be some 60 to 70 for that particular age and height. But if I say 80, then calculate, then it will show the summary. Your overweight BMI. It is 27.7. And you see, they are showing such graphs also. And what happens is when I change the weight to some 60, then calculate, then you can see normal weight, normal BMI. And you see this slider comes here. This is also designed with JavaScript, jQuery, or if the technology is React, it is React or Angular. Right? That means you must be able to design such components. So for that, you need to be very perfect in working with events. Event handlers. Right? So this is one concept of working with all the events and event handlers. I think you will try this. Any doubt like how to handle radios in checkbox? Any doubt like how to handle radios and checkbox? Can you handle radios and checkboxes? Suppose if one radio, one option, another radio, another. let me give you a simple hint so that I can understand that you can achieve this or not. Suppose you try that BMI calculator. I will show you right here. I will add another component. So this is some demo. I will add a new file, sample component. I'm just using a sample component .js. Now we will create here export function sample component. Just let's return. Now here, how we can design, how we can manage radio buttons. That is the task. Means that is the point here. Some radios. Now I am designing radio. You know, input type is equal to radio. Radio, and you know, radio will have value. So name is gender, and the value is suppose male, and we have male. So input type is another radio, and name is gender. You know, both should have same name. Value is female, and here we have female. Okay, just I will put a button here, and button I will say get details. So just this is the design. Sample component I will keep here. Sample component. This is sample component. Now user can select any one out of these two. Now when user selects male, one male BMI formula we need to implement. Female BMI formula. So how do we know which one is selected on details click? And I need to display relative content here. First of all, you need change. That means, for example, so import, so use state from React. And here I'm defining constant. This is gender. What we do, set gender. Okay, and use state. This is initially a string. Now what we have to do is we need to verify which one they selected, either male or female. Then you have to write here. So function, what is it? Male change. And here we need to write another function. What is it? Female change. Right? So here we need to write an option. What is it? So on change. On change is male change. Here on change. On change is what? Female change. Female change. Now what we need to do here? We need to get event argument. What will be the gender? We need to use a condition. If e dot target dot checked means selected na. If it is checked, what we have to do? If it is selected, then set gender e dot target dot value. Understood? Gender is what? Value. Value is what? Male. That means if it is checked, its value. If this is checked, its value. Its value. We need to set gender. And this gender I am displaying. So you selected. So you selected gender. And we will display that gender here. And usually this is the option here. I'm selecting female and it says female. I'm selecting male, it says male, but I need to wait until details is clicked. I need to wait until calculate is clicked. Na? This logic also I told you already. How? I should not display immediately. I should wait until they clicked. Right? Then what we have to do? This gender you are collecting, right? And you should display only when it is finished. That means I will just put here another constant. So here selected gender, am I right? Set, what is it? Selected gender. And this is use state. Use state is empty. And here we have to write on. So details click function. What is it? Details click. On details click, what we have to do is set selected gender as what gender, and that selected gender we are displaying here. We are using selected gender here, and on details button click we have to write what? On click details click. That means first when user is changing, so we will collect its value, but we will not display. When user clicks this button, whatever value selected, we will display that there. So that means while changing, we are not doing it. After get details, we will display. For that, what you have to do while changing, collect it and store it, but don't display the same or don't use the same. You create another reference, and this reference you update whenever he finish. So you need to create. That's what we saw in two-way binding. I told you that while typing itself, every detail will be updated. We should not do like that. That means I am creating a registration form. How you will post for every field? You can't post for every field. You have to collect all details. After that, finally on submit, you have to post. Some we have to verify immediately. Some we need to do after finish. And for that, we need to implement this one. Right? This is general example. Now, based on that, you have to try. That means you will get easily formula for gender BMI formula, male BMI formula, and female BMI formula. If gender is male, then do this. And if it is female, do that. And that BMI you have to display. And how you can create these kind of sliders. So this is BMI calculator. Na? Yeah. How you will create? I will enter some 22, height 170, weight so 66, calculate. How you will create this kind of? And this slider will be changing. According to you, that slider will be changing. How you will design that? Tell me with your HTML skills. How HTML, CSS. What is used for such? Actually, generally, suppose you see here, means I'm just showing another designer. Means how you will handle this kind of, means lot of design you required for that. Actually, I will say slider, something like this. I'm using a div, the class name. Here we have a class progress. In this we will create a div. This is class as progress bar. This progress bar I am giving how much they need. How much? So just I am giving 53 kg, 1, 2, 3, 4 divisions, huh? Right? Just roughly I am giving this progress bar 1, 2, 3, 4 divisions. And what I will do is here, what are those designs here? Darkened info color is there. Okay, so what I will do here is I will put this style, and width is this is 40%. How much? 100 now. I will share 30%. I'm giving 30%. So how much out of 4 means I need to share among how much? 100, 25%, right? 25% I am sharing all of them. 25, 25, 25 equally shared this, and this is having called BG dark. This is having BG info, and this is having BG dark, and this is also having BG dark. This I said, suppose low weight. This is having as a normal weight. So, and here we have what they have: overweight, obese, overweight, and we have oops. And here you see now, this is our design. Understood? This is the slider, right? This is the slider we created. And for every progress padding to not there, gap we will give. Suppose we have margin E2. Okay, 1, that's enough. Okay, that is margin, and I will add for these 2. Okay, that is enough. Little change. This is the slider, right? We are creating a slider in this way. They given outside, we given inside. Now, how about the slide arrow? So below this progress, we are creating another div. In that we have a span. So class. So what is the class? BI. BI triangle down. Triangle down is there? It's not there. BI triangle. It is there. Triangle fill. Okay, it is there. That is the triangle fill. Now what you need to do is you need to move this. Right, you need to move this according to the weight. So low it means how much? Up to how much? Below 53 kg. Yeah? That means this is low weight below 53 kg. So that is low weight below 53 kg. What is it? This is ordinary text. A container is missing. Acha. Operator issue is there. Below. Otherwise, I need to put a character there. Huh? So what is it? Ampersand LT semicolon. Okay. That is what? Less than 53. Right? That is less than 53. Now, how to move that slider? Based on how much formula value it is coming, you have to move that slider under that part. Right? Because 25% it is. Suppose if it is, let's say, this div, so is having complete actually this span. This span, I will put a style. We learned style object, na? style object. Its position we can change, right? So I will give here style. Temporarily, I am adding here margin. Margin what? Margin left. How many pixels? Suppose margin left, I will give, suppose he is overweight or say normal weight. Normal weight means I will give 45%. 45%. Margin left 45%, it will be like this. Understood? That means now according to the percent value coming, that you have to apply dynamically. Understood? We learned already how to apply style dynamically. Na? We learned style binding, right? This number will come from that formula result. Understood? That formula result will be this number. Now what you need to do? You need to define that. Suppose if it is overweight, how much it will be? So overweight means it is 65%. That means it is overweight. Right? Suppose I give a 95%, it will be like this. It will be changing. The value will be changing. Right? That is the measurement scale, how you define. That is 35%, it is here. Right? That is what I said already, that React developer means very, very strong in HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. Otherwise, what is React developer? Nothing. React development design in real-time project is not about just only React. Because this is all not React. This is all your general HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. That means React will not provide anything for this. Just React is a component-based library, right? It simplifies the process. You need to do all this by yourself by HTML, CSS. Building effective user interfaces, in that React will help, right? But you need to be very strong in building user interfaces, then React developers are good, right? Now implement that formula and try. I hope now you can achieve this, right? So try, let's see how many of you can design this BMI calculator now. You got the design also now, right? You got the design also, how to display this one, right? Now you put this value, normal BMI, and show his status there. For that, you research on the formula. I will copy this one. This is another example. This is example for slider. Slider example I am giving. Now, once you are good with this, then now we will go into next stage. Now we learned about all events. I will give you some FAQs related to this concept. What is asked in interviews, I will give you some FAQs. Then we will go into properties, how to handle properties of components. Means if you are reusing component, then you cannot use with the same data every time. Data will change according to the requirements. So what are component properties in React and how to handle them? That we will see in our next session. Tomorrow we'll do that. Right? Tomorrow we will discuss about components and component properties, how to manage them, right? That we will see in the next session. Tomorrow we'll see. You have to try these exercises. Examples, you try both of them, then it is good. Okay, right.